From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Afternoon Edition.
And good afternoon. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We begin with a nationwide day of action as Democratic leaders protest the proposed cuts to Medicaid. There are events planned across the Bay Area, starting in San Jose, where Representatives O'Loughlin and Sam Liccardo, both of them voted against the stopgap funding bill. They say close to a quarter of people living in Santa Clara County are on Medi-Cal, which is funded through Medicaid. One of those people is a dad from San Jose who says it's helped his whole family.
With Medicaid, I can ensure that my new baby will get the health checkups and vaccinations to grow up healthy. I don't have to worry about how to pay for the care. Medicaid is important not just for my family, but to millions of other people just like myself who are building their families.
And at 1 o'clock, Representative Nancy Pelosi will join members of the Bay Area congressional delegation, medical professionals, and community leaders also to highlight the potential cuts and impact. New numbers out of San Francisco now. The Department of Health says 61 people died of accidental overdoses in February. They say that number is up from 57 deaths in January. And VTA union workers remain on the picket lines in Santa Clara County. Their strike is now in its second week. We spoke with one worker who called out the irony of being on the picket line today of all days.
Today is, in fact, Driver's Appreciation Day, Transit Appreciation Day. And the unfortunate situation is this is where we're at right now. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel very unappreciated with the fact that this is supposed to be a day where we are celebrated, we are appreciated.
A judge has temporarily denied VTA's request for a restraining order to stop the strike. Both sides have reached out to Governor Newsom to intervene, and his office has urged both parties to keep negotiating. Okay, first alert weather right now. They'll give you a live look from the East Bay from our Mount Diablo camera. A dry and cool break from the rain. You actually see some blue skies out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Verch in the Virtual View studio. Hey, Jess.
That was actually a beautiful shot, too, with a little bit of green underneath. And, of course, those blue skies and that one single cloud that just is kind of hanging around. Here's what's happening for us as we head to the ground just below me. I want to show you our daytime highs heading into this afternoon. It's a mild forecast for us today. I mean, we're talking about low 60s, upper 50s, anywhere from Vallejo over into Napa. We're also dealing with some low 60s off into the East Bay, too. You make your way down into the Santa Clara Valley. There's not a lot of a change. Now, we have a couple big weather stories for us as we head into this week's forecast. First one is we're not done with the rain just yet. We're getting another batch of showers tomorrow. I'll time that out in just a second. The second big story, though, has to do with temperatures. For now, we're sitting in the low 60s in areas like San Jose. But by next Monday, we add 20 degrees to this exact number right here. We'll sit around 82 degrees in Monday's forecast right around the corner for San Jose and throughout the Santa Clara Valley. We're all going to be warming up as we head into next week's forecast. But first things first, let's dive into what we're dealing with now. I mean, you take a look at those blue skies behind me. It's beautiful. But just yesterday, we had over 2 inches of rain near Ben Lomond and about a quarter of an inch anywhere from San Francisco all the way over into San Jose, with more impressive numbers near San Rafael. It is a clear day for us today. However, more clouds are rolling in tomorrow just ahead of that rain system that'll time out coming up in just a bit. For now, over to you.
Jess. Well, a small earthquake last night had a lot of people talking. The 3.9 earthquake hit just before 8 p.m. near Dublin. On St. Patrick's Day, no less. It was felt as far away as Monterey and the Sierra foothills, but there was no report of damage, as you might expect with a quake of this size.
I was on my lunch break, and I felt the earthquake, and I saw like stuff falling around.
I didn't notice anything or anything moving or anything.
I was in the shower, so it was a little worrisome. I almost sat down. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do, so.
I didn't feel it, but we did hear it. It must have happened when it was like pouring down rain, and we were more worried about moving stuff and getting out of the way of the water than we were about whether the earth was moving.
So if you're wondering why you did not get an alert, here's the reason. The USGS Shake Alert system is only triggered when quakes are above 4.5. Well, today, the City Council in Fremont will consider making changes to the city's controversial encampment ban. The council could remove a section banning the aiding and abetting of encampments, making it clear donations are legal. The ordinance would still ban all camping on city property. Many advocates expressed concern that they could be arrested for providing food or water. They are holding a rally at tonight's council meeting and demanding a full repeal of the ban. To Washington now, where the White House says President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to begin negotiations to achieve a ceasefire in Ukraine, agreeing that it needs to start with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire. The two spoke by phone for at least 90 minutes. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
Ahead of the high-stakes call, President Trump expressed optimism over negotiations to end Russia's war on Ukraine.
We're trying to get a peace agreement done. We want to get a ceasefire and then a peace agreement.
President Trump said Ukraine's land and power plants will likely be part of the discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russian forces are occupying around 20% of Ukraine and seized the Zaporizhzhia power plant in 2022, Europe's largest nuclear site, which has been caught in the crossfire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited a military cemetery in Lviv Tuesday to pay his respects to soldiers killed during Russia's invasion. Ukraine is skeptical that Putin is ready for peace, but hopeful for a breakthrough after 3 years of fighting.
Of course, there's no trust, but politics is politics. Every war comes with negotiations, so if we need to sit at the table, so that's what we should do.
Here in Washington, a legal battle is escalating over deportation flights and the use of a 1798 wartime law allowing the president to detain and deport non-citizens. A federal judge is demanding answers today about whether the administration violated his order over the weekend by sending planes with more than 200 migrants to El Salvador, many alleged gang members. A Justice Department attorney argued that they were not bound by the order since it wasn't in writing.
So just happening right now, Trump and Putin have agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire on all energy infrastructure. No word yet from Ukraine. More than 400 people were killed after Israel unleashed dozens of airstrikes up and down the Gaza Strip overnight. The ceasefire had barely lasted 2 months. The Israeli government blamed Hamas for a breakdown in negotiations to free hostages and warned more strikes of alleged terror targets are to come.
Let me be very clear. Israel will not stop until all of our hostages are back home.
Hamas is blaming Israel for breaking the original ceasefire agreement from January. It says this return to war amounts to a death sentence for the remaining hostages. The White House said it had been consulted about Israel's strikes on Gaza and voiced support for the actions. Well, after being in space for more than 9 months, 2 astronauts are finally on their way home. Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore were supposed to return after an 8-day mission in June. They were delayed due to propulsion issues. They finally undocked from the International Space Station overnight aboard a SpaceX capsule.
All hooks open.
All hooks are open. And undocking confirmed.
There they go. They're now scheduled to splash down off the coast of Florida around 3 o'clock this afternoon, our time. Still ahead at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, how artificial intelligence became the pearl to a longtime oyster farm in the North Bay. Plus, could pickleball help solve a transit agency's budget problems? And here's a live look outside before we head to the break. Live look at the Golden Gate Bridge standing nice and tall, all those blue skies and beautiful sunshine out there. We'll be right back. Well, SFMTA is looking for solutions as it projects a more than $300 million deficit. One idea is pickleball at city-owned parking garages. They are considering putting a pickleball court on the roof of the Sutter Stockton garage and on top of the 5th and Mission garage. This would be aimed at optimizing the garage's use. Another expansion for Waymo, the self-driving service, just got approval to expand to the South Bay. Testing will happen through most of San Jose, but no passengers are allowed just yet. This follows Waymo's recent expansion into the peninsula, including Palo Alto, Mountain View, and parts of Sunnyvale. Here are 2 things you may not think of together: oysters and tech. Brian Hackney shows us the connection at one of our most famous oyster farms in the North Bay.
At Hog Island Oyster Company up in Marshall, California, Delicious.
They really do sell seashells down by the seashore.
It is so good.
Now I'm just gonna turn the knife.
Actually, they sell the oysters inside.
Really scrape against that shell, and that's it. It's good to go.
They've had the operation for more than 40 years, and they're no longer just scraping by.
I'm Marlon. I'm your host and tour guide today. We're also going to serve you some shucked oysters.
Marlon McLaughlin is giving one of the 2,000 annual tours here.
I really do feel that the heart and soul of the company is here at the farm and right out there on the bay.
And while Tomales Bay may be their heart and soul, the bread and butter is at their ferry building outlet.
It is the best recipe.
And on the plates of the Bay Area's best restaurants.
Kumamoto, everybody loves those, yeah.
And if it seems just that easy, it is not.
There are 10 million oysters of various ages out on the water right now that we want to make sure we're keeping track of them and how they're doing and mortality rates of this group versus that.
CEO John Finger has come a long way from his first 5 acres on Tomales Bay, with the operation now 30 times bigger. He adopted Google's Gemini AI to manage his complicated spreadsheets.
So we collect a lot of data. Having it in these spreadsheets that we can then even ask Gemini the question, can you tell me how many extra smalls we sold in January of last year? And that's extremely time consuming for a person to do that.
Turns out Google was impressed with how their software was used in the oyster biz.
Did you just get a call one day and they said, "Hi, it's Google"?
Yeah, without a lot of notice.
And before you know it,
my passion is growing great oysters.
Hog Island Oyster had an ad courtesy of Google on the Super Bowl broadcast.
They reached out and said, yeah, we whittled it down over I don't know how many companies in each state, and we wanted to do this with you. So we were like, wow, sure. Super Bowl? Oh, yeah.
All right, just about ready to hit the dining table.
Google highlighted 50 small businesses, one from each state.
It is the best recipe.
To highlight their use of AI.
A tool like this can allow our people to spend more time with other people instead of spending time on a computer crunching numbers.
This is a beautiful thing we're doing, and we're proud of what we do.
Google went hog wild on the company's use of their software.
Delicious.
But artificial intelligence will never replace the real people.
We're enjoying oysters right at the place they're coming out of the water.
At Hog Island.
AI is like, it's not going to take, we're not going to have it take over the world or take over the company. We're still a very people-focused company.
I've seen somebody eat over 100 in one sitting.
Wow. But I actually get to see people enjoy it. A lot of farmers don't actually. That's the best oyster I've ever had. So I love where I work. I get to see beautiful places. So I feel lucky.
Oh, love those oysters. Okay, well, Hog Island harvests and sells more than 5 million oysters and clams every year. Okay, a check on Wall Street right now. Here's a live look at the billboard. Right now, the Dow is trending downward. A little bit of up and down day, but mostly in the red right there. Now below 250 points. Well, back to our first alert weather right now. Let's give you a live look back from our Black Mountain camera looking at the Santa Clara Valley. This is in, of course, the South Bay. A little hazy out there, but you can see the clouds and blue skies and a little bit of sunshine. It's kind of warming up, Jess, and I kind of like it.
I love it. And as we head into this weekend, we have a very big warm up, especially down in the Santa Clara Valley right around the corner. I mean, today they're topping off in the low 60s. By tomorrow, a similar trend. It takes a bit, but by this weekend, high pressure builds in from offshore, and that's going to warm all of us up and dry all of us up too. For example, we still have rain in the forecast for the time being as we head into our Wednesday setup. I'll show you that in just a second, but we talked about it earlier. The Santa Clara Valley, you just saw that live look. It's beautiful already. Heading into next Monday, this 62 right here is going to turn into 82 right around the corner. It's going to be a nice warm setup for us as we head into early next week. Well above average, of course, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Take a look at what's happening for us by tomorrow, though, before we jump too far ahead. We have clouds rolling in from offshore just ahead of a weak frontal system that will bring in some light showers to the Bay Area tomorrow afternoon, heading into the overnight hours that night. Here's what we're expecting Wednesday as we head into that 6 o'clock hour. Light to moderate rain starting up in the North Bay just around 6. That continues to sweep to the south. It starts to break apart, though, as it moves its way inland, meaning we'll see hit or miss showers along the peninsula, along the South Bay as we head into the 8, 9 o'clock hour. And at that point into the overnight hours, we actually clear up pretty fast, and we'll stay dry after that. That's the last little bit of rain rain that we're going to see for the rest of this week. Here's what we're expecting throughout the next 7 days. We're gearing up for a very beautiful week next week, but for the time being, there's still partly cloudy skies for us day by day as we head into this weekend and early next week. We're talking about partly cloudy conditions for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. High pressure builds in by Sunday. That's when we finally start to warm up. We'll jump into the upper 70s for our friends along the bay near San Francisco and Oakland. We'll even hit the 80s all the way down into the South Bay and off into the East Bay as well, with sunny skies right around the corner. So one more day of rain tomorrow as that system moves in from offshore. Then we're gearing up for a beautiful week heading into next week. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jess. When we come back, get your W-2s and 1099s together. We're 1 month out from tax day. Our expert with some tips before you crunch the numbers and file. Well, calendar check, there's less than 1 month until taxes are due. Most Americans have until April 15th to file their 2024 tax returns, pay any taxes owed, or request an extension. According to the IRS, 61.4 million tax returns have been received and more than 60.7 million have already been processed. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger told CBS Mornings, if you receive a big refund, consider making changes so that does not happen again next year.
So if you get a big refund, one nice thing to do would be, hey, let me change my withholding. Let me hold on to my money during the year. You might be the most patriotic person in the world. Keep your money.
Schlesinger says it's a good idea to file as soon as possible, even if you owe money. Filing electronically and using direct deposit can help avoid any delays, especially since last month, the Trump administration laid off about 7,000 IRS employees. The average refund is nearly $3,300. That's up slightly from last year. Well, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. Now you too can own a piece of social media history. How much people will need to shell out to purchase the 12-foot Twitter bird logo that used to hang above Market Street. And don't forget, you can compete against your favorite KPIX anchors throughout the NCAA tournament. Just scan your QR code on the screen or go to kpix.com/bracket-challenge to register your entry, then submit your picks before the first round begins on Thursday. Well, the iconic Twitter logo could be yours. That 12-foot sign, you've seen it, that was once on the company's headquarters in San Francisco is up for auction. The bird logo was on display for 11 years outside the Market Street building before Elon Musk acquired the company and then rebranded it to X. Bids for the sign are up to $21,000 at the moment. The bidding ends on Thursday. Well, that's it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we're streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Our next newscast is at 5 o'clock. Have a great day.